It's been a long time since I showed my face on YouTube. A very long time. But anyway, I'm glad that I finally did. Today's lesson is about money. What is money? Has it ever come across to you? Have you ever had a question? Or has something ever happened to you where it was like one of those Isaac Newton moments when an apple fell on your head and you thought, but what is money? What is it? What makes it money? I mean, if money can be printed, why doesn't the government print more money for everyone? Okay, but just to cut a long story short, I'm going to start talking about money. I'll first start by saying these are South African bank notes. They are not money. They are bank notes. They are notes. They are vouchers. They are like checkbooks. They are like notification. They are a notification that says, please give whoever holds this services worth 20 rands. In other words, they are a note which signifies how much money you can gain access to. They are not actually money. But then the question becomes, what is then money? Or what then is money? What is it? It was a question that used to come across. No, I always took it for granted that banknotes are money, banknotes are money. But then I thought one day, no, man, one really has to find out what money is. Well, my definition of money, this is my definition of money. My definition of money is that money is a measurement of value. Money is like an SI unit, for example. For example, if we want to say somebody walked 5 kilometers, or for those who live in the United States, 5, or maybe I call it 5 miles. I know 5 kilometers like 7.5 miles, but hey, 5 miles is like 7.5 kilometers. But let's just for argument's sake say a mile or a kilometer or a liter or a gallon is an abstract term used to measure something. For example, a liter is an abstract term used to measure the volume of liquids, right? A meter is something that is used to measure distance. You can't see a meter. You can see a meter of road, like for example, if you see 1 meter of a road or 1 meter of a yardstick. Yes, you can see 1 meter of a yardstick. You can see the yardstick, but you can't see the meter. A meter is a term that we use to measure something. Same thing with money. Money is a term that we use to measure the worth of anything in numbers. So we measure the value of anything in numbers. Let's say you sing a note. How much do you think that note is worth? Okay, let me not use the word how much for now. It's too early. What do you think the value of the note that I've just sung is? What do you think the value of that note is? In numbers. If we had to put the value of that note in numbers, say the value of that note is 5, and somebody comes to you and gives you a shirt. What is the value of that shirt that they gave you in numbers? So actually, money is actually a numbering system. It's an abstract term. It's an abstract numbering system used to put digits onto anything that is valuable. So we put digits onto anything that is valuable so that we can exchange it properly. So, for example, what I give you may be worth 2 digits, and what you give me may be worth 5 digits, which means I owe you 3 digits. Now, how do these banknotes come into being? For example, in the industrial age where most of the things were owned by the government, or of course, government runs almost everything, but the age where everything was owned by the government, you would go and give your worth. You would go and give your value to the government, right? And the government would say, look, you gave us worth that we think what you gave us is worth 10,000 rands. Then they give you bank notes, notes from the Reserve Bank, notes from the government that say, please give Mr. So-and-so anything of value within the premises of this country. They're like vouchers, they're like shopping vouchers within the premises of the country worth 10,000 rands. And what happened later is that we ended up exchanging those shopping vouchers for each other. Like for example, I did something for the government that's worth 10,000 rands. Because I owe you something that is worth 1,000 rands, I'll give you 1,000 rands of my notes. Rands, like rands is equal to dollars. You'd understand. Rands, dollars. I use rands. Okay, so I'll talk about rands. Anyway, so if somebody says to me, look, I've done work for the government that's worth 10,000 rands, so because I owe you 1,000, I will give you these vouchers called banknotes worth 10,000 rands, so you can go and use them on my behalf. I'll be left with 9,000 of them. That's how this whole thing works. So actually this is just a contract between you and the government that says, look, you've done something that is worth 20 rands, it's like a contract. It's written on paper. So this is no different actually from a contract. If somebody else was to write a contract for me that says, please give so and so services worth 20 rands in my shop, that is as valuable as money, as these bank notes. Because what is happening is that this man whoever gives me a voucher of his shop is giving me value. So this brings me to a very important aspect. Why is it that some people seem to not have money? You know why? Because we do not give value. Money, think about it, money is a measurement of value. Everybody listening to this has billions and billions of worth of value within them. The only reason why they've not been converted into banknotes or anything significant is that you have not expressed the worth inside you. You have not expressed the worth inside you to somebody else who might exchange that for something else that is of worth to you. You know what I mean? For example, you haven't expressed that worth. That worth could be anything from a piece of music, a work of art, a teaching, a form of knowledge, intelligence, work, anything, labor. All that is worth that you give to somebody else, and that somebody else gives you whatever is worth to them back, to you back. So what happens is that the reason why we change notes mostly is because we tend to see notes as the most common worth that we can exchange. Banknotes is the most common worth that we can exchange quicker and easier. But don't keep your eyes on the notes. Don't keep your eyes on the notes. Keep your eyes on worth. Keep your eyes on contracts. Right? That's why banks will give you their banknotes in exchange for a contract. So because they understand the contract is money. The bottom line is what we call money. I'm not talking about banknotes now. What we call money is a measurement, a digital measurement of worth. Sometimes the reason why we lack banknotes is because we do not exchange them for anything that is worth, from our hearts, from our minds, anything that is worth, That's what I would call laziness. It's an inability to express, or rather to manifest, the value that is in your mind. So laziness is the inability to manifest your wealth into being. You know what I mean? I'll just quote something from the Bible. It says, the hands of the diligent shall rule, but a lazy man shall be brought to forced labor. You see, either ways, you will always be forced to express a form of wealth. If you're not going to do it voluntarily, doing what you love, you're not going to express your wealth in a form of what you love, you will be forced to express it in forced labor, in a way that you hate. So till next time, I hope you understand this. Cheerio.